several centuries, humanity strengthened its relationships with various alien species. However, in the 28th century, the mass of the intergalactic station Alpha in Earth's orbit reached a critical point. The government decided to send the former International Space Station to the Magellan Extreme, as it had begun to threaten Earth's gravitational stability. Now, the massive Alpha space station, inhabited by beings from thousands of planets, is venturing into uncharted space, carrying the ideals of peace and unity to the farthest reaches of the universe. 400 years after Alpha was sent into space, the Pearls, inhabitants of the distant planet Mole, still haven't made contact with other races. They live in harmony with nature, harvesting special pearls that contain vast amounts of energy. To maintain balance, they return the pearls they harvest from the seas back to the land. Helping them in this task are unique creatures, converters, which can replicate around 100 pearls from just one. But one day, thousands of missiles and burning debris start raining down on Mule, followed by a massive spaceship crashing into the planet. Everything on Mule is instantly destroyed, but some of the pearls, led by Emperor Haben Lemai, manage to take shelter inside one of the crashed ships. Unfortunately, the door handle breaks, leaving the pearls unable to let in Princess Liho Mana, who's still outside. Realizing the end is near, Liho Mina sends out a powerful energy signal into space before disappearing from Mole's surface. Meanwhile, Major Valerian and Sergeant Laureline, agents of Alpha's special police unit responsible for maintaining order across the galaxy, are heading to their next mission. Just before landing on the target planet, Valerian receives Liho Mina's message and wakes up, startled. However, dismissing it as just a strange dream, he continues trying to convince Laureline to be his girlfriend, calling her perfect and insisting that he doesn't need anyone else. But Laureline is hesitant to reciprocate, as she's put off by Valerian's flirtatious nature, knowing he never misses a chance with a pretty girl. Before landing, Valerian remembers his dream and asks the ship's AI, Alex, to analyze his brain activity. Alex detects heightened activity and external wave interference, which could have been sent from the past or future, from anywhere in the universe. Soon, Valerian and Laureline finally land on the sandy planet Curious. At this point, the agents receive a call from the Minister of Defense. He reminds them that their mission is to capture the Converter, a unique creature from the planet Mule that is now the last of its kind, and deliver it to Alpha. Valerian and Laureline disguise themselves as tourists, then exit their ship to meet up with Captain Gibson and his team, who are assigned to assist them with the mission. The team heads to the Great Market, and on the way, Gibson explains that Valerian's task is to locate the shop of a suspect who's believed to have the Converter and to team up with Sergeant Cooper. Meanwhile, Laureline will wait for them at the rendezvous point. They'll only have 10 seconds to secure the Converter. Before heading into the market, Valerian asks Laureline to marry him, insisting that he's ready for a serious relationship. However, Laureline doesn't take him seriously and sends him on the mission with a kiss on the cheek. The Great Market is located in another dimension, and to enter, they need to wear special helmets and gloves and pass through a set of unique gates. Valerian blends in with a group of tourists but soon falls behind and sneaks into a restricted area. There, he finds the shop they're looking for and reports it to Gibson. Valerian then meets Sergeant Cooper, who provides him with special glasses, a weapon, and a transbox, a device that allows objects to be transported between dimensions. Cooper also scans Valerian, making him invisible to the other market inhabitants. Meanwhile, in his shop, the alien Egon Cirrus is negotiating with two humanoids from the planet Mole who are eager to obtain the last surviving converter. Egon is reluctant to part with such a valuable item and asks what the humanoids can offer in return. One of them presents a pearl, saying that Egon could have 100 more if he sells them the converter. Realizing that the converter could make him a fortune, Egon decides he doesn't want to sell it. The situation escalates, and both sides draw their weapons. At that moment, Valerian, who has been secretly observing the conversation, reveals himself. He aims his gun at Egon's head and demands that the converter be placed into the transbox. Laureline joins Valerian at the rendezvous point after sneaking into the market with the help of some soldiers who had incapacitated a guard on a watchtower using special weapons. Egon complies with Valerian's demands and places the converter in the transbox, which Laureline immediately retrieves in their usual dimension. With the mission successfully completed, Gibson orders them to return. However, Valerian decides to stay a little longer to grab the pearl as well. Unfortunately, he lowers his weapon too much, and an alien dog lunges at his arm. Valerian starts firing wildly, prompting everyone else to return fire. Cooper comes to Valerian's aid, but he too is attacked by the alien dog. Valerian manages to escape into the market, but because his hand is visible, he's quickly declared a wanted man. Laureline urges him to return quickly, but it turns out that the control panel is damaged, preventing him from leaving the other dimension. To make matters worse, Valerian is gradually becoming visible again, making it easy for an alien guard to spot him. The guard shoots metallic spheres at the device on Valerian's hand, causing it to become so heavy that Valerian falls through the ground. Valerian finds himself in a casino, drawing the attention of an alien child armed with a toy gun that shoots bubblegum. Meanwhile, the guard catches up to Valerian. Thinking quickly, Valerian grabs one of the metallic spheres and convinces the child to shoot the guard with bubblegum. The remaining spheres are magnetically attracted to the first, causing the guard to fall through the floor. Valerian manages to get up and escape, but not before frustrating the child by sticking a piece of gum on their forehead. This angers the child's mother, and now Valerian has to run from her too. Luckily, Valerian soon bumps into Laureline, who helps him remove the heavy device from his hand and return to their normal dimension just before the guards and their dog catch up. After the chaotic chase, Valerian realizes that the magical pearl somehow made it into their dimension. But Egon isn't ready to give up. He sends a massive alien creature after Valerian. Valerian and Laureline make a run for a bus while the soldiers provide cover fire. The bus transforms into an armored vehicle, and as they head back to their ship, the team fends off the creature with various weapons. However, the creature continues to pursue them. The creature manages to latch onto the vehicle and breaks inside. Fortunately, with the soldiers' help, Valerian and Laureline make it back to their ship with the invaluable converter. As the agents settle into their seats on the ship, the AI, Alex, alerts them that the massive creature has boarded their craft. However, as the ship accelerates into exospace, the creature loses its grip and perishes. Soon, Laureline decides to check on the frightened converter. She calms the little creature and places it in a healing capsule enriched with uranium, which will help restore its unique abilities. Meanwhile, Valerian asks Alex to analyze the pearl. The AI reports that the pearl contains 10 times more energy than their ship. Alex also reveals that the pearl is from the planet Mul, which has been gone for 30 years. Valerian wants to learn more about the planet, but the information is classified and only accessible to the government. Laureline joins Valerian, and he once again brings up his proposal to marry her, but she continues to brush him off. The agents return to Alpha, where they learn they've been promoted for successfully completing their mission. They then meet with General Octo Bar, who briefs them on a new mission. A year ago, a radioactive zone was discovered in the center of the station. The government sent in probes and then special forces, but nothing and no one returned. The air in the zone is unbreathable, and it continues to expand. Commander Filitt joins them, stating that it's crucial to find out who might be interested in destroying Alpha, as it could be annihilated within a week if they don't act quickly. Filitt contacts the Minister of Defense, who informs him that Valerian and Laureline will be protecting him during a Security Council meeting with representatives from various species. Filitt insists that his K-Tron robots can handle the job, but the minister overrules him. It's clear that Filitt is unhappy with this decision. Before heading to the Security Council meeting, he visits a captured Pearl, who is being tortured for information with no success. Filitt orders the prisoner to be executed if they can't extract any information within the hour. He then reminds his K-Trons of their instructions if the operation doesn't go as planned and prepares for the meeting. Shortly after, Valerian and Laureline arrive in protective suits. Per Filitt's orders, Laureline brings the converter with her, as Filitt intends to use it as leverage in a potential deal. However, the agents refuse to hand over the converter to Filitt, insisting that it's safer in Laureline's care while she waits outside the meeting room. Reluctantly, Filitt agrees, and he and Valerian step out to address the gathered delegates from various species. As Filitt delivers his speech about the contaminated zone, Laureline is approached by 3 aliens known as the Dogandagis, who are infamous for trading valuable information. Laureline contacts Valerian, and he asks her to inquire about Mul. The Dogandagis reveal that a year ago, Major Samek, an expert on the planet, was killed. They also warn that mercenaries are already hunting for the converter. At that moment, an alarm goes off. The lights in the meeting hall cut out, the doors lock, and a group of Pearls enters the room. They immobilize everyone using a weapon that shoots a sticky substance and then abduct Filitt. Valerian manages to free himself from the sticky cocoon using a spider-like robot he had hidden in his mouth before the attack. He then frees Laureline, hands her a knife to help the others, and instructs her to monitor the Pearls from the control center. Valerian decides to follow the Pearls to track down Filitt. Guided by Laureline, he navigates through various spaces, breaking through walls with the help of his special suit. Valerian soon reaches the Pearl ship. Alex picks him up, and an intense chase ensues. Valerian opens fire on the enemy ship, but it suddenly splits into multiple smaller ships. Laureline quickly identifies which ship likely contains Filitt, and Valerian gives chase. Realizing his ship is too large, he transfers to a smaller fighter. As he closes in on the dangerous zone, Laureline urges him to catch up to the Pearls before they lose communication with him. Valerian manages to latch onto the Pearl ship with a grappling hook, but this causes him to lose control of his fighter. He soon enters the zone, leaving his fate unknown. Determined to rescue Valerian, Laureline prepares to enter the zone herself, but General Barr forbids her, citing that the area is under enemy control. However, Laureline questions this. If the Pearls are truly enemies, why did they leave them alive? And what did the surviving Pearls from Mul want with their station? Resolute in uncovering the truth and saving Valerian, Laureline defies Barr's orders. Barr, however, is firm and orders guards to keep an eye on her. In the corridor, Laureline outsmarts the guards and escapes with their weapons. She then tracks down the Dogandagis and forces them at gunpoint to help her find Valerian. Meanwhile, General Barr attempts to access more information about Mul, only to discover, to his surprise, that even he doesn't have clearance to the data. The Dogandagis lead Laureline to a pirate named Bob, who hunts rare brain jellyfish. Bob invites them aboard his submarine and shows them enormous creatures called bromosaurs, which are home to these jellyfish. Bob captures one of the jellyfish with the submarine's claws, but a bromosaur notices them and, along with two others, begins chasing them. Luckily, Bob manages to escape from them by turning into a narrow tunnel. Soon, they return to solid ground, and Dogan Doggies explains to Laureline that she needs to mentally project an image of Valerian to the jellyfish, then put it on her head, and it will show her where to find him. However, she can only keep the jellyfish on her head for a minute or it will drain all her memories. Laureline follows Dogan Doggies' instructions, and their shared memories with Valerian flash before her eyes. She exceeds the recommended time by 10 seconds but manages to retain her memory and sees the message L.630.E-Sul deactivated. After removing the jellyfish, she asks Dogan Doggies what this might mean, and they explain that it refers to level 630 in the east. That's where she should look for Valerian. Laureline sets off to find her partner, while Dogan Doggies, hoping for a reward, goes to General Barr to report about Pearl, who is being held captive by Filitt. An enraged Barr arrests everyone involved in the torture and assures Pearl that he will be treated properly. Pearl asks for help and mentions that Alpha has what they need, then releases a surge of energy, similar to what Lihomina did. Soon, Laureline arrives at level 630 and finds Valerian unconscious among the rocks. She gives him a special medicine, and he finally comes to. He immediately wants to resume the search for Filitt, and Laureline is upset that Valerian doesn't even thank her for rescuing him. Valerian then repairs his fighter jet and explains that the Pearls in his dream had the same converter as they do. Laureline realizes that now they want to capture the last creature from their home planet. She notes that the Pearls have kidnapped Filitt, thinking he has the converter, but now they're after her. Laureline gets distracted by some unusual glowing butterflies, and one lands on her hand. She marvels at its beauty, but Valerian warns that they must not be touched because some of them are traps. At that moment, the butterfly turns into a hook and Laureline is captured and abducted by members of the primitive Bulan Bathurst tribe from the planet Gora. However, Valerian doesn't abandon his partner in distress. He leaps off a cliff and deliberately grabs a lure butterfly. The aliens capture him too, but he manages to avoid captivity by shooting at his captor. Valerian hides behind a wall and contacts Alex, who advises him to find a glamopod, which will allow him to infiltrate Bulan Bathurst territory without drawing attention. Meanwhile, General Barr discovers that Pearl's DNA doesn't match any species in the database. This means it's either an entirely new, unregistered species, or someone has deliberately removed the information about it. Barr is then informed that Valerian has exited the danger zone and can be tracked again. He orders all posts to be notified and instructs the guards not to harm him. Valerian takes advantage of a guard's helplessness, steals his invisibility weapon, and freezes him with his gun. He then finds himself at Paradise Alley, a place where hundreds of various call girls work. Soon, he reaches Glam Club and asks Pimp Jolly to find him a glamopod. Jolly takes him to a show by Bubble, who changes many forms during her dance performance. Valerian shoots Jolly and asks Bubble, an illegal immigrant, to help him in exchange for freedom and documents. Bubble agrees and carries Valerian out of the club in her true jelly-like form, while she herself takes on Jolly's appearance. She then transforms into a Bulan Bather and transports Valerian directly into their territory. General Barr is informed that Valerian was spotted with the Bulan Bathers, a place no one has ever entered or escaped from. Barr realizes they will need reinforcements and orders the information to be sent to the minister. Meanwhile, the Bulan Bathers are holding a grand feast. Hundreds of beings bring various dishes to their emperor, but he rejects them all. Eventually, they present a finely dressed Laureline with a large hat with a hole in it. She offers him a plate of lemons, unaware that she herself is the dish.
Hi.
When the Emperor sprays lemon juice on Laureline's head and retrieves a special tool, the girl breaks free, and Valerian reveals himself. Chaos ensues, and Valerian, in his true form, fights off numerous Bulan Bathers. Bubble, in her jelly-like form, also helps the agents, but soon they are faced with an entire army of aggressive beings. The trio pretends to prepare for battle, but suddenly Bubble hides them in her body and sneaks them through a hatch in the floor. They soon find themselves in a junkyard, where the agents discover that Bubble is seriously injured. Valerian tells her she's the best actress he's ever seen, and Bubble, before her final moments, asks him to take care of Laureline. Meanwhile, General Barr contacts the defense minister. The minister assigns him to lead the operation and, in return, Barr demands access to all classified files on Filitt. The minister reluctantly agrees after some hesitation. Barr learns that the planet Mul was accidentally destroyed during the war, but it was supposedly uninhabited. He requests information about the leader of that military operation but is once again denied access. This deeply concerns him, as does the fact that Filitt's K-Trons are monitoring his every move and won't deactivate without the Master's direct order. The partners search for a way out of the unfamiliar terrain, and Valerian admits that it feels as though Mina's spirit has possessed him and is guiding them correctly. They soon find themselves in a so-called contaminated zone and realize they've been deceived, as there is no real danger here. They then approach a glowing wall, from which Pearl emerges and invites them to meet with the Emperor. The agents pass through a portal and find themselves inside a massive spaceship. They are greeted by Emperor Haben Limai and his wife, Aloy. The Emperor explains that, upon leaving, Pearl transforms his energy into a wave that travels through space and time searching for a suitable host. Mina, their daughter, chose Valerian as the guardian of her soul.
My daughter.
Finally, the Emperor reveals that the paradise on Mul was shattered by a war between peoples they had never even heard of. A massive explosion destroyed around 6 million pearls, and the survivors drifted in space for years aboard a partially destroyed ship, studying various sciences thanks to its data banks. One day, they were picked up by scrap collectors who were gathering metal in the galaxy and, along with their cargo, were taken to Alpha, the largest construction site in the universe. The pearls lived covertly on Alpha, learning from other species and eventually accumulating enough knowledge and materials to build their own ship. However, they lacked a converter and a single pearl to activate it. They nearly acquired these items, but their plans were thwarted by the agents. Now, the pearls believe that Valerian and Laureline will do the right thing. They revive Filitt, who immediately orders the agents to arrest the pearls. He tries to stick to his version of the story, claiming that Mul was uninhabited. However, the agents quickly understand what really happened. Filitt had ignored reports about an advanced race on the planet and sacrificed it for a military victory. When Filitt learned that the surviving pearls were on Alpha, he decided to erase any evidence of his mistake rather than atone for it. He got rid of Major Samk, who knew about his crime, and fabricated the legend of the contaminated zone. Filitt admits the truth but insists that his duty was to protect humanity, which would have suffered greatly had he told the truth. He then orders Valerian to arrest Haben Limai. However, Haben strikes Filitt in the face and hands over the pearl to the Emperor. Laureline is ready to give over the converter as well, but Valerian hesitates because it is government property, and he must follow the rules. Laureline accuses him of being heartless and says this is why she doesn't want to marry him. Valerian eventually agrees to return the converter to the pearls, and Laureline, in gratitude, kisses him on the lips. Finally, Haben Limai gives the pearl to the converter, which produces many more pearls, generating an enormous amount of energy. This energy activates their ship and creates a hologram of their home planet's landscape. Haben Limai frees Valerian from Mina's soul and wishes them peace. Meanwhile, the Special Forces and Filitt's K-Trons are already arriving at the portal. General Barr gives them 4 minutes to evacuate the area before it is destroyed. The Pearls realize that hundreds of soldiers are surrounding their ship and step outside, intending no harm. At the same time, Valerian and Laureline contact the general, revealing the truth about the Pearl genocide and requesting that the assault be called off. Barr believes them and pauses the timer, but he still needs Filitt's personal acknowledgement to cancel the operation. Filitt, however, declares that he cannot bear the humiliation and orders his K-Trons to destroy the Pearls, the soldiers, and even the commanders in the control center. The robots start shooting everyone indiscriminately and reactivate the timer. In a fit of rage, Laureline strikes Filitt, while Valerian goes to assist the Pearls and soldiers. Barr orders Sergeant Nezha to stop the timer. Despite the gunfire, Nezha manages to reach the control panel and disables the timer just seconds before the explosion. At that moment, the Pearls successfully leave Alpha aboard their new ship. The surviving soldiers find Filitt trapped, and Barr orders his arrest. Valerian and Laureline also manage to escape on the module that the Pearls arrived on. Valerian asks Laureline to marry him again, and this time she responds that it might be possible, after which they kiss.